Hey y'all, this is Mark Abood, and I'm sitting here in the parent pickup line waiting to pick up my girls from school. And I want to take a couple minutes to kind of fill people in on our spring and summer travel and tournament plans. May end up being longer than a couple minutes, but we'll see. Let's go. It's been a while since I've been able to upload a vlog post, and I hope to be getting back into it fairly quickly here. It's kind of been busy around the holidays and into the new year with a bunch of stuff going on for me. So as we look into our spring and summer plans for the team, we are trying to sort out our tournament schedule. And again, here in Minnesota, as a 2009 team, we play up an age group to the 2008 age level in the Summer League, the Twin Cities Soccer League, which is a U.S. club league here in Minnesota. It's what we need to do to find competition locally. Again, we haven't found a team at our age group yet that has been able to give us a good competitive game, and that's to be expected because most, if not all, the other teams we play are community-based teams. And as a magnet club, the Minnesota Thunder Academy draws kids and talent from multiple geographic areas, so it makes sense that when you pool that type of talent together, it becomes difficult to find competition against community-based teams that are just drawing from a single community. And again, that's nothing wrong against those community programs because, in all honesty, those programs are catering to 99% of the players in Minnesota, which is terrific, and it helps grow the game and helps provide solid playing environments, enjoyable playing environments for the majority of soccer players. Again, the Minnesota Thunder Academy was formed to address that 1 or 2% of kids that weren't finding the development challenge and the best development opportunity for their potential locally. So with that said, we are trying to figure out what will be best in terms of a competitive tournament schedule for the girls. Our plan is to head to Kansas City for the Emerald Cup in the first weekend of April. I've been talking to their directors, and we hope to be able to play 9v9 down there as we play 9v9 here in Minnesota up an age group. But that will all be dependent on the interest that tournament gets from teams that at the 09 age group that want to play 9v9 because the entire region plays 7v7. From a coach's perspective, the goal of traveling at this age group is to come up against better competition at our true age group. Again, playing up with the 08s, we are in general not as athletic, not as big and strong as our opponents, and that forces us to rely on technique and skill and understanding of the game to remain competitive. And again, we're a pretty athletic group too, so it's not like we're completely outmatched athletically, but in general, the teams that we're playing are more athletic overall. And again, that's fine. That's how we're finding the challenge. For me as a coach, the best way to expose our individual and our collective weaknesses is to play competition at our own age group where we're really tested without being athletically overmatched. So the travel regionally to play 7v7 events is one way to do that. And again, it's expensive, it's time consuming. I understand that, and I understand that better now because I have a daughter on the team, right? I didn't understand that very well 10 years ago when I was taking teams all over the region, and the team was paying for my expenses, paying for my travel. And I didn't have to, it wasn't an outlay of cash for me to do that. Now as a parent on the team, as well as a coach, I'm very cognizant about that financial burden that this type of travel brings about. With that said, the parents, I believe, after nearly, 4 or 5 months with this group, now have a better understanding of where we sit locally here in Minnesota, and I think have bought in a little bit better to the idea of investing in the travel and the development opportunities and challenges that this type of travel will bring about. Our team was budgeted to travel to one event in the spring, and The Kansas City trip is one that a number of teams from our club are heading to, and it serves not only as hopefully will be a challenge on the field, but it's also a cultural club bonding experience off the field with the kids in the same hotel, and really there to support other teams in the club and understanding that this club is bigger than one single team. So when I found out, in talking to the guys down in Kansas City, when I found out that that tournament is not 9v9, I started to try to find or try to think about ways that I could maybe help build a regional 9v9 event with quality competition. And for me, the quality competition comes from the ECNL clubs. Midwest Conference, I believe, has 8 clubs. I had an idea to try to bring all those clubs, have all their 09 teams come together at a central location for what would probably be a very good experience, competitive experience for the girls. So I contacted the Eclipse Soccer Club out of Illinois, and the Eclipse Club is a strong ECNL club, strong on the girls' side, and moreover, they are centrally located to not only the Midwest Conference ECNL teams, but also Ohio Valley teams. And in my experience with the Eclipse events, going back 10, 11 years, is that they tend to draw in not only the best of the best from the Midwest, but then I remember traveling there and playing PDA out of New Jersey, and FC Stars from Massachusetts, and the Sting from Texas, and Colorado Rush from Colorado. So with the reputation that Eclipse has had to host top caliber events, I reached out to them to see if they'd be willing to hold a 9v9 2009 girls event in conjunction with their Eclipse Spring Cup, which is later in April, I think the weekend of the 26th. And the Rory Dames, the director down there, and Patrick, their tournament director, were very open to the idea. So I ended up reaching out to all the Midwest ECNL clubs to see if there was some interest. In general, the feedback that I received was there was tremendous interest to try to get something going for this age group, but understandably their year-long budget and travel plans had already been set in place back in August. Again, which I understood. So, but the good thing is that by me making contact with all these clubs, I started to build rapport with a number of these coaching directors and 09 girls coaches, and it looks like we're really going to try to push for something in the fall in conjunction with the Eclipse Challenge Cup, which is mid-August, which again should be a tremendous event for the 09s, with looking at the clubs in the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and then hopefully getting a core of 8 or 9 of those clubs together and committed, and then being able to reach out to the PDAs and the FC Stars and the clubs outside of those 2 ECNL conferences to really build a solid ECNL club 09 event in the fall. So super excited about that. I'm sure I'll provide more details of that as if and when that comes together. But moving on, we actually then, talking with Tim, the co-coach, I wanted to see if we had enough interest to add the Chicago event, regardless of it being an ECNL 09 event. And we floated that by the parent group, and we had a parent meeting, and it seems like we have 100% buy-in to also travel to Chicago 2 weeks or 3 weeks after Kansas City. So the month of April should be a really good test for us, regional test for us, and I'm super excited about that because, again, I think it's good for the girls to travel outside of Minnesota and understand that there's a lot of other girls across the country that are putting time and effort into their own development. And I think it'll also serve as good motivation for the girls when they likely face very challenging games at their own age group. Again, it's sometimes tough to keep the girls motivated here when they step on the field and it's 10-0 and we have to start putting in restrictions and everything like that, and not allowing them to really play the game which they enjoy and which they love. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of vlog posts from Kansas City and from Eclipse with some game analysis and some game highlights, and I'm excited for the girls to take on that challenge. Moreover, I think it's good for the parents to be exposed to other clubs and what other girls and families are doing across the region. So they also understand that, yeah, we have a very good team when it comes to Minnesota soccer, but we likely won't walk over teams once we step out of Minnesota and start to play some of these bigger, more established ECNL clubs. In terms of the local tournament plan, we were budgeted to participate in the USA Cup in July here at the National Sports Center, as well as I think one or two other local tournaments. For me, these tournaments serve a number of purposes. One, we train so much in the winter. To me, the summer is the girls' chance to play and play the game that they love to play. So even if we have to forego some training sessions in the summer to get these girls, to kind of fulfill some of the competitive desires from the girls in the group, and if we end up playing every weekend in June at different tournaments, to me that's completely fine. Another purpose of playing at our own age group in the summer is from a recruiting standpoint. And recruiting gets a negative connotation in the youth soccer world, and there are many rules prohibiting recruiting and the recruitment of players. And to me, those rules are ludicrous. And that's a whole nother vlog post in and of itself, and I'm sure I'll deal with that at some point. But I just don't believe the recruiting rules are in place to the benefit of the players. I'll just leave it at that for now, and I'm sure I'll go into more detail later. Abiding by those recruiting rules, which is important from a coach that is part of a club and part of a club in the Minnesota Youth Soccer Association who governs and mandates those rules. I won't be out there recruiting players. How else can we attract players to this program? Well, first of all, people in other clubs, girls and families in other clubs, need to know that our program is in place and that we have a team at the 09 age group. It's a talented team, and for talented players in other environments that may or may not know any better, to me there's a benefit from them or for that team from a community club coming against our group. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to the restrictions and trying to manage the girls' competitiveness and their desire to score goals and while also being conscious of the girls on the other team and not wanting to give the girls on the other team a negative soccer experience. There comes a point when I need to look out for our girls and our club. So by us playing at our own age group, it increases the chances that people know about this team and increases the chances that we may get that super athletic, talented player from a smaller community club who's come up against us. We may get them to look up the Minnesota Thunder Academy, to get to our website, to maybe look at tryouts, and maybe build our roster for next season in that way. And we need to build our roster. We have 10 on the roster. We go to 9v9 next fall. We're going to need 2, 3, 4 more players to fill out that roster. And again, when we make that jump to 11v11, we're going to need to find more players. In general, our ECNL teams at the older age groups tend to have the better players come in at that point, but how much better would those players be if they were in a good development opportunity at 9, 10, 11 years old? And by good development opportunity, I'm not saying I'm the world's greatest coach. I'm saying that a development opportunity is surrounding kids with high athletic ability, with a ton of soccer potential, with great game understanding and a lot of passion for the game, surrounding them with other players of similar mindsets and similar passion levels and similar athleticism and similar soccer abilities. In that way, the training sessions are fantastic development opportunities when you get a core group of 12, 13, 14 players together. That's really where the development happens, right? So looking at the summer schedule then, my goal would be to get us into local tournaments geographically based, so that we go to a tournament in the east, in the Woodbury tournament or the St. Croix event. We get to an event in the south, in Lakeville, or the Dakota Rev tournament. We get to an event in the west, maybe it's a Tonka tournament, the Eden Prairie tournament, and we get to an event in the north, like Maplebrook or maybe a Coon Rapids or something like that. And the goal would be to play our own age group. And again, we may not find challenge on the field at that point, but we get the name out there, we get the team out there and showcase the team in a sense. We'll also play a number of events at the NSC, because at NSC, National Sports Center in Blaine, they tend to draw in teams from all across the Twin Cities area and Rochester's and Duluth's and greater Minnesota. So but I also need to find ways to keep these girls challenged in tournament play. So I will also be looking to register the girls in boys divisions, and we'll probably do that at some of the NSC events because those events clearly state in their rules that girls may register for boys brackets. Back in 2006, maybe 2005, I had a U11 girls team that we played that I registered in the NYSA Boys League, and it was the best for them in terms of in general at U11, and again, I know our girls are U10, but at U11, and I think we'll find at U10 also, that actually our girls will be bigger than the boys on average. I think the boys' overall athleticism and quickness will be great challenges for us, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to challenge the girls in that way. I think in general the girls are behind it and the families are behind it from our team meeting and what I've seen. There's some hesitation from a couple of the girls that I sense, but I think once they get on the field and know they have to step up their game a little bit in order to be competitive, I think everyone's going to rise to the challenge. So we'll see how it goes. I believe that because of the number of complaints from boys teams and parents that my U11 girls team came up against in the mid-2000s, I believe NYSA changed their league rules, not allowing girls to play in boys leagues. I'm not positive about that, but yeah, we had to deal with a lot of problems when visiting boys teams would show up to our field and there was a bunch of little ponytails running around warming up on the other half, and coaches and parents unsure if they're in the right field and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And again, in general, the U11 girls won all their games except the state final where we lost to a St. Croix team. So that made it harder, I think, on the boys and their coaches and their parents. But again, I'm here for the growth of the game, but selfishly speaking, I'm here for the growth of our team and my daughter, first and foremost. So we'll see how it goes.